or the steel, or the electrical people. It's all a matter of timing, okay? So, I have my task list here, and what I do is I create, or there's it's called a Gantt chart, G-N-A-T-T.
Isn't that Nat?
Gantt, oh, you're right, I'm sorry. It's called a Gantt chart. It's actually spelled Gantt. Hold on. I can't remember how to spell it. Hold on one second. Gantt. It's a 3. It's Gantt. Gantt chart, okay? And what happens with the Gantt chart is basically it is a Excel spreadsheet. Here I have my task. I have, let's say, the date due, the date started, person responsible, and maybe a couple other items, okay? So I'm going to list all my tasks here. I'm going to list this stuff here, and so forth and so on. Okay? And what will happen is it will create a schedule for me and show the various dependencies such that I will be able to see when I start my project who is going to be dependent upon what and how those dependencies might affect whether or not I'm going to be able to do this within the appropriate timeline. Okay? I'm not going to make you do a Gantt chart. There are lots of different programs on the market for project management. There's a website called Smartsheet where you can create Gantt charts. There is Microsoft Project, and there's some other project-oriented softwares out there that take really big projects and help to develop these types of spreadsheets and dependencies. And the reason why you want to see them is, let's say you have a building. You're building a building downtown San Francisco, okay? So you might want to use project management software. You're going to input all the different tasks, like we need to dig a big hole in the ground, we need to contact the concrete people, we need to make sure that the steel people come in before the concrete people, but we don't want to buy the steel too much in advance because then we're outlay of money, and also we might have to store or inventorize the steel. That costs us more money. It's a big it's a big game. It's a huge puzzle you're dealing with when you're dealing with a project, depending on the size of the project, okay? And what I'm talking about are more complex projects here. I'm not talking about your boss said, I want you to collate these papers. I have a project for you, I want you to collate these papers. That's not a project, okay? Everybody nowadays says, oh, I know how to do a project. It's like, well, you know.
What kind of project?
It depends on what kind of project, okay? I know how to write a thesis. It's taken me 3 years, okay? Now, you know, when I started, I had no idea what was going to happen today. I didn't know what was gonna happen in my life during that 3 years. I didn't know a lot of things. I encountered a whole bunch of issues that I never in my life thought that I was gonna encounter. And so, what happens? I have to adapt. So what these project management softwares enable you to do is to adapt based upon what is happening. So, is it Rosemary? I'm sorry.
Ramona.
Pardon?
Ramona.
Ramona, thank you, sorry. So Ramona learned how to use ADP. When she first started using ADP, it was very cumbersome. She was like, I don't like this program, I don't know it, it's hard to use, blah, 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 blah. What's the purpose? Well, how long have you been using ADP, Ramona?
8 months.
8 months, okay. Do you have a different perspective about the program now than you did when you first started? Is it a lot easier to deal with? Okay. So, Ramona has learned how to be more efficient with her time by using this program. And that's what project management does. It's about efficient use of time and being able to project in the future when you're going to have what's called a bottleneck. Does everybody know what a bottleneck is? Okay. How many of you drive on the freeway? Okay. How many of you have been driving along at, 65, 75, or 85 miles an hour, depending on how you drive? And all of a sudden, you're just cruising along great, and all of a sudden, traffic stops. And you're like, what is going on? Why is the traffic stopped? You have no idea because you can't see it in front of you, right? You can't see far enough. Well, you have a bottleneck. Somewhere up the road, 2 lanes of the 4 lanes that are available are blocked. So all those people who are coming in from those 4 lanes now are channeled into 2. Because there's a fire engine here, there's a car on fire, you're all looky-loo, so you want to see what the carnage is about. You want to see if there's any dead bodies on the road, that sort of fun stuff, Just human nature, okay? So, it's called a bottleneck. These bottlenecks happen all the time. They happen in manufacturing, they happen in everyday work that you do. Whenever you're dependent upon something else, you have a potential for a bottleneck. So you're dependent upon the fact that you gave yourself a half an hour to get from point A to point B, right? Because that's how long it usually takes you. But you didn't think about the fact that, wow, there might be an accident. Or maybe if I looked at Waze ahead of time, or looked at Google Maps to see what they're estimating the time to be, that I'm not going to be 15 minutes late because they might have known about this bottleneck that's happened. Okay? So this is the importance of doing this sort of stuff. And what happens is, in the Gantt chart, is it can project where the dependencies are and where the problems are going to exist and where the bottlenecks are going to exist. And it helps you to move those out